As the clock strikes 7, the fight's alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. Inner Circle podcast where love is well known. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. Inner Circle podcast where love is well known. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. Inner Circle podcast where love is well known.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to our audience. Welcome to everyone watching us out there. We hope you're having a good evening, a good Tuesday. It's December, holiday seasons. You know, folks are in a holiday spirit. I hope you have your Christmas list. Mel, do you have your Christmas list ready? How's the Mel household preparing for Christmas?
Well, the household is doing great. We are ready. Just got our Christmas tree installed. Should I say installed? Whichever way it is, planted. Whichever way we want to say that.
Yeah.
And it's just our people from back home. We got to kind of add on that list. So that's the key chunk of it. However, it's going well. It's going well. Kind of in the spirit. Can't wait for the shutdown and just spend time with the family.
Definitely. So yeah. So I think your list, if you including folks from back home, your list must be huge anyway.
It is. We have to, brother. We have to. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. Our topic tonight is domestic violence against men. You know, why do some men suffer in silence? That is something that has been in the news lately in our community, in the immigrant community, you know, especially. So tonight we want to tackle that. Hopefully, you know, our panelists, you know, other panelists can join us here. But Mel and I are going to start tackling that. You know, if we want to participate, you know, the topic here again tonight is why do some men suffer in silence? You know, domestic violence against men, and why do some men suffer in silence? You know, so if you want to participate, you can comment. You can call our number 817-600-1525. Mel, I'll start with you on this one. It's like, why do you think, you know, there's like domestic violence against men, and why do you think like men don't want to like come out, you know, and speak, come out and say, hey man, I'm going through this thing, and you know, can I get some help?
Yeah. So great topic. Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are in your Christmas spirit that we just talked about. So as it relates to the topic on the discussion, domestic violence against men is an often overlooked but serious issue among men, right? That includes physical abuse, emotional violence, and physical as well. Then when you kind of add that sexual piece of it, you know, a lot of men will not see it as abuse when it comes to sex, but I think it's some type of abuse depending on the male you are talking about. And the prevalence research kind of indicates that men can also, you know, experience these things. We talk about domestic violence. Studies also suggest the significant, you know, number of men that have experienced or continue to experience these domestic violence and the forms of the violence I just named. But then the reason why, Abe, like you just asked, the reason why you see a lot of men will stay back and not want to, you know, deal with it. It's the stigma associated with it. What do I mean by that? Right? The barriers of reporting those violence they're experiencing. Now, cultural norms often portray men as strong, right? If you kind of look at that, or also
let me just hold you there a little bit, right? It's like you go deep into stuff, really. You know, you go deep into a lot of stuff. But I want to just hold you there, like you said. The one thing I want to hold you on a little bit is you know, when it comes to sexual aspect of it, it can be considered domestic violence. I just want you to explain that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
So some men do experience coercive sex that is not approve of. It happens. They can be coerced. It's some type of violence that men experience. For me, as a man, I would prefer my own.
So are you saying a man can be raped?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it's possible. But is that on a high end? No. I would prefer my woman trying to even rape me. I would love that. But some men see it as abusive if they are not in the mood and you push them or do something to have them get into that. So yeah, you know, men can be abused sexually.
Okay. Thank you. Well, patient, welcome to the show. First, you know, I would like to start with you, like, why it is, you know, there's sexual violence or domestic violence against men, and why do you think men suffer in silence? They don't want to report it. They don't want to say anything about it. They just keep it, keep it going.
For most men, they don't want to seem weak. That's where it is. Like, if you speak on it, you're gonna feel less of a man. It's almost the same as women. Like, they take those things too. We're supposed to make the marriage work. So when we speak on those things, it's like we're filling in our marriage. And the same goes for men. You go out there and tell your friend, my wife is abusing me at home. They're gonna be looking at you like you're weak. You're supposed to be the head of the home. A woman is not supposed to be treating you that way. But they do have some men who love hard. And when they love, they're going to take whatever just to keep that family and keep that relationship. So they tolerate these abuse and just don't speak on it, because society has this standard that men are not supposed to speak on their emotions. They're just supposed to suck it up and keep their head up and be a man, which is not right at all.
Is it, as it comes to our immigrant community, is it something, because of the unique cultural things that we experience or we come here as immigrants, is it prevalent, compared to the general population because of the challenges? I'll start with you, patient, and now the same question, basically.
I don't know if it's just an African thing. I think every culture or every nationality face this, because in every culture or every society or every nationality, they have a certain type of men. I feel like every culture goes through this as well. It's not just an immigrant thing.
Yeah. But Mel, right? Pushing that further though. We have this sometimes that some of us come from a culture where in like the traditional values where, hey, I'm a man, the woman should be, I'm not gonna let any woman try to like maybe abuse me or something. So why should I say a woman abuse me, right? The tradition of it. Is that something because of our culture? We are immigrants, it's like we don't even want to go or say anything about that.
Well, maybe there are a lot of things that kind of leads to that. As it relates to that man saying I'm a man and I believe I'm an African man, and this, we are in a different environment. You got to understand that piece of it. You have to adapt to where you live at now. In the society we live in, first of all, a man even report being abused or the woman knocking on you when police come, they're not even going to listen to that. right? The first person they're going to talk to is a woman. So looking at all of that, so men will endure those things. One, to stay away from these law enforcement and getting record on yourself. So these are some of the contributing factors why men try to be quiet. But like I said, if you are from Africa, it's different in Africa. You are here, it's different here, right? I can report things right now and be like, this my woman abusing me. They're not going to believe it. So the question you asked earlier, the fear of being disbelief is another contributing factor. I can say something here is happening constantly, but am I going to be believed by people I'm talking to? A lot of them will not even believe what I'm saying because that's how society sees it. So these are the contributing factors for which those things are happening against men.
Okay. Ms. B, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining the panelists. I'll kind of go to you as well. What do you think? Same question that I start with everybody. There's domestic violence against men, and why do some men suffer in silence? Or men as a whole suffer in silence when there's abuse against them. Why is that?
Good evening, everyone. Miss B here tonight. I'm excited about this conversation because it takes me back to the whole 09 situation with Chris Brown and Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
And automatically when that situation happened, I was like, I don't think it's one-sided.
Yeah.
And, as over the years come to find out it wasn't. They were both being abusive to each other in the relationship, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes it's not necessarily men are suffering in silence, but it's like we society have not made it okay for them to talk about being abused by their female partner.
Yeah.
If that event had happened in 09, did we get to see Chris Brown's pictures? Did we see any physical pictures of him? Automatically we saw only her pictures. Mm-hmm. Even if he went to jail, right? Even if he was handcuffed, do we get to see what physically happened to him? Mm-hmm. And is it even considered, right? I think society needs to change the norm when it comes to men, because there are women sitting in jails for a reason. And most of the women that are sitting in jail is due to domestic violence.
So if you say society should change the norm, how can society change the norm? It's like how can society make it easier? Do men have a role to play, right? To try to also make it easier?
I think they do. For me, even though my intuitions told me there was two sides to that story, what would further confirm it was interviews that he did after the fact, and then a documentary on Netflix, right? Where he really went in to discuss the night of the event and the relationship taking place prior to the event, right?
Yeah.
How the only reason that incident made headlines was not because any one of them fell victim to what happened that night. It was because outsiders, bystanders, heard what was happening and called the police. And when the police showed up, obviously Rihanna looked like she had been beaten, right? And so I think that's how we can make a difference, is like if a domestic dispute takes place, and I think more so they're doing that now, is police, when they show up to the scene, sometimes both people are taken, the man and the woman, until they can identify who has clearly been the protagonist in the situation.
But because of the history, right, where in the society we live in, once whoever called the police when the cops come, is either if the woman has an injury and the man doesn't have an injury, right, they're just going to grab the man and hey, take you in. Is because of that, right? Isn't it like a fear among men? Hey, man, I'm not even going to bother with that. And sometimes if the man is triggered and react, right, it's like it becomes even double trouble.
Yes, that is so prevalent, AB. With the way society been structured over time, it puts men in a very limited position to, reach out there and see how best they can explain these things. Because, like I just mentioned, you people will not believe you. So those are things that these are things that just keep them in a loop and just be like, you know what? I don't think I should be battled, complaining or lost, because I will be looking like I'm the one doing it. So yeah, sometimes a man can be provoked. You even try getting out of your own house when these things are happening, your partner who happen to be a female stands in a way and rip your clothes or do something to you. I will give you a story here. There's one of my good friends, I'm not going to call name, who have
Yeah.
experienced this and have been impacted, and the guy is in jail today. Now,
Okay.
this dude had gone through every form of domestic abuse in his home with his partner, and but each time he bring this up to adults within our community and be like, "This is happening to me," and be like, "Hey, man, get out of here, man. You know that lady will not do any of that to you. You just trying to paint yourself as a good guy." And this thing kept
Okay.
going on and on. And this lady literally framed this guy at some point to be like, he was the one that was doing these things. He beat up on me, set him up. And to be honest, this guy, I know this human being. He's not abusive. He's somebody that can kind of have civil conversation, talk about things, and try to avoid drama a lot of the time. But
Sure. But
someone he brought in his life kind of messed that up. Now the guy is in jail, and he was the one that suffered, but now he's being punished for stuff like that.
well, I mean, with regard to that example, though, did he ever try to get law enforcement involved? Did he try, did he try to seek help? Sometimes, I mean, did your friend try to seek any kind of a help, either through law
From
enforcement?
just talking to him,
Mhm.
the few time he and I talked, he said when they come around, he explained these things. They would just advise him get out of the house, go somewhere, cool out, let it calm down, then you come home. Or if
Okay.
that is not something you want to be in, you walk away from it. Those were
Okay.
the pieces of advice he had gotten from the law enforcement. And those things are not they're not. It's hard for someone who has home to be like,
Sure.
I'm just walking out of my home just because of this, especially knowing that you are invested. So it was
Yeah.
challenging for him. I don't know what else have happened aside from what he told me he had done.
Okay. Patient, are there specific barriers that are preventing men from either reporting domestic violence or talking about domestic violence? Especially, like, again, I would like to focus on our immigrant community. Is there like specific barriers that are really preventing the reporting of violence or causing men to just suffer in silence? You know what? I'm not even going to talk about this.
Like everybody said, most if a man goes and report domestic violence, first of all, they're not even gonna like look at you as in being serious because you're the man. Just being the man alone gives, I guess, it gives you guys some form of power. Like
Mm,
you're not supposed to be weak. You're in charge of your home, and I said that earlier. And men, most men, the men that are dealing with domestic violence and not leaving their families are the ones who are really family oriented. Like, I have built this life. This is my family. We have these kids together. And sometimes it leads back to these men growing in broken homes. They don't want their kids to grow up in a broken home because they know what they went through. They're just trying to create that family and be in their child life as much as possible within the same space. So they're like, okay, I'm going to tolerate it. Maybe eventually things are going to change. She's going to become better. And you just take it and take it and take it until you can't take it no more and retaliate one of these days. Then boom, that's where the trouble comes from. So that's
okay.
how I look at it.
Yeah. Miss B, though, why you are in that kind of a relationship, right? Things are going on. Should you maybe create a mechanism where you can document it, for maybe a day that might come, what? It's like something might trigger you when you react, right? Maybe like should you have a camera these days, right? With a smart camera everywhere. Should you have some form of documentation?
Yes, that and mothers need to support their sons when they talk about being in an abusive situation.
Mhm.
If I had a son, if Chris Brown was my son and that situation took place, I would definitely tell him, talk about it. Let's change. You be the difference, right? It's okay. Men are going to talk about you, saying how you're out here complaining about being beat up by a woman. Oh, that's fine, right? It takes someone to take a stance
Mhm.
and to make that change that we all see in society. A lot of the things that has changed over the time, it took somebody to take a stance. And I think it starts with us. Again, I said mothers. You have your sons and they can see controlling behaviors in females from a small age. My girlfriend and her son was here just the other day. He's
Yeah.
14 years old, and the particular controlling assessment he had made about another female took place in like 6th grade.
Okay.
And so those are things we can see at an early age in somebody that is going to grow up. She's going to be this more of a controlling woman, and that control can lead to her being violent towards her partner, because women feel it's okay to hit men, it's okay to be abusive towards men. So I think we all have a part to play when it comes to violence against men. That's us as women and as mothers, and as well as men speaking up about it as well.
True, as you said, right? Once you mention, like, mother should play a role, but it's like only thing generally the females as well should play a role. If you notice your friend is in an abusive relationship, and she's your friend, but she's the one abusing her partner, should you report that?
Or talk to that friend.
Okay.
I
But
have a story.
why if you intervene a couple of times, it's not changing? Should you report that?
Regardless of man or woman, I'm against domestic violence.
Okay.
If I witness it, I am going to step in and do something about it, right? But I know it was a learning experience for my friend. She was in her prior relationship, and
Mhm.
she was okay hitting her partner in that relationship whenever he upset her,
Mhm.
but she got to the next relationship and she attempted to do the same thing, and the person hit her back, but
Okay.
didn't hit her back in a violent way. He
Mhm.
hit her back, and she's like, "Oh, he hit me." And he was like, "I hit her because you hit me. If you don't want to be hit, don't hit me."
Mhm.
And that was a wake up call for her to say, "Oh, this is not good. I don't want to be that." And so
Okay.
she appreciated him bringing that to her attention. And I think
Mhm.
that helped in the long run for the relationship. Was she slapped him, he hit her in like the shoulder or something like that, just
Mhm.
to show her, like, if you don't want to be hit, you don't hit me either. We can argue all day, but don't result to putting your hands on me, and I will not put your hands on, and I will not put my hands on you.
Okay.
And she came in and explained the situation to me, and I was like, he was kind of right for that.
Okay.
And she was like, yes, it was a learning experience for her, and she from that situation, she never went on to do that again. And I think
Okay.
that's another thing, right? I'm not saying men should go be violent back to that person, but say to them, like, if you don't want me to do this to you, don't do it to me from the
Okay.
first time it happens.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing domestic violence against men and why do some men suffer in silence. When you hear domestic violence, sometimes always women, 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 but there are domestic violence against men. There are a lot of statistics that proves that, but men just do not report it. So
He
tonight that's a
appreciated.
discussion. You can comment or you can call our number 817-600-1525. We are discussing domestic violence against men. Why do some men suffer in silence? Now, like Mel, does language barrier, right? Again, it's like I'll come to the immigrant piece. Language barrier, does it have any role to play? It's like you come here sometimes, yeah, even though we are like, we're from Liberia, we speak English, but a lot of other immigrants come here, right? There's that language, and that cultural barrier. Does it play any role?
Yes, it does. For someone who, doesn't know how to speak English at all, cannot communicate, cannot express himself, yes, it does play a role
Mm-hmm.
in something like that. Because how do I express myself? To whom can I express myself? And a lot of the people that do these work that, require just dealing with them, they all speak English. And some of them do, they're, multilingual, but it will take you time to come across one of them out of, thousands. So language barrier is a key contributing factors for people that have come in America that cannot speak English. So it is a contributing factor if you look at it from that standpoint.
Okay, okay. Well, patient, you talked about earlier how there might be some men who are family oriented. They'll just want to say, "Oh, because I don't want to break up my family, so I'll just stay there." I mean, aren't they like causing their own mental health? Right? They are mentally suffering in a situation that they shouldn't be in. Why can't they just walk away? Why
I
do?
mean, um, with men is different. I mean, for us women, eventually we're gonna be like, I screw this. I deserve better, and or we'll find somebody who will start giving us a certain eye. When a man
Mhm.
love, he love. Like if a man wants a family, he wants a family. He's gonna go to hell and back for his family.
Okay.
They have some men like that, and they have some men will be like, screw it, this is not working for me, and I'm gonna leave.
Mhm.
So with that, it's hard. And I think women need to start taking responsibility for that too. Like, treat people the way you want to be treated. I'm a strong believer of that. Anybody I'm with, I know how I want to be treated. That's how I treat my partner. Because that person is your person. You're supposed to speak life into them. You're supposed to help them become a better man and become a better partner for you. You abusing him, you're breaking his ego. Like, putting your hands on someone, you're taking a lot from them, especially a man. A man that's supposed to stand tall in his home and hold his head up. It's not just physically abusing the person, even like yelling at your partner. That's a form of abuse too. You guys are both in the home. You're supposed to speak life into each other. And watching the kids, most of the domestic violence thing it starts from home. Like, these little kids watch their parents abusing each other. Then they grow up thinking that it's okay to do so. And even here with my 3-year-old, I always tell her, don't hit your sister. It's not okay for you to hit anybody. Because if they hit you back, you're going to come crying. So that's where it starts from. Some of us grew up in a domestic home. So we know what it's like. And we grow up with that mindset. Like, I'm triggered. You yell at me one time, that's a problem. I start crying. You don't love me, in the relationship over. Because we know how that is. It's just a whole lot into this whole domestic thing with men. Men takes a lot. And once again, when they love, they love. When they want to be a family person, they do whatever it takes to be a family person. So they tolerate that abuse, which is not okay.
Miss B, though, is like one of the most, I think, prevalent abuse against men. It's not something the physical, though. It's just like what patient alluded to. Like, sometimes you come home, they just be yelling at you, just be going at it, abusing you in front of the kids, disgracing you, telling you words that's not necessary, and things like that. I think that's the most. Sometimes when you enter some homes, that's it. That's the kind of abuse you notice where that men go through.
That is true. Like, and it happens not only like as far as being witnessed in when in your relationship, but like Patience said, when you're younger, like, how do your mom and dad argue? How do they have conversations, right? I'm always, when my daughter was even a lot smaller, from 4th grade was when she had her first physical incident where she had slapped a kid. And right away, I recognized her strength. And so from that time on, it was about, you don't ever hit and you use your words, right? And I know we like to say sticks and stones break my bones, but words don't hurt me. They do. Words hurt and they cut deep, ladies. And I see it in some of my girlfriends and family members, how you guys cut into your partner. And so that's always at the forefront of the conversation I'm having with them, is like, maybe you shouldn't have the conversation when you're angry. Walk away, because when you degrade a person through your words, it stays in their memory bank. And so even when you're trying to move away from that, they don't see you as being genuine, because the same mouth you use to utter such vulgar words out towards me is the same mouth you're going to turn around and say, oh, how I love you so much and you mean the world to me. It's a contradiction within itself, right? It's being a hypocrite. So you have to be mindful of choosing your words wisely. If that's not your behavior and you go into a relationship and you see that person bringing that out of you, show them different. Show them different. They could be used to that kind of dysfunctional way of having a conversation or working through their problems where the words MFer and BITCH back and forth, and so then they'll bring that to the next relationship. Show them different. Be like, nope, we're not having that. You're going to figure out how to talk to me properly before we're going to continue this conversation. And so it's like Patience says, it's like, treat people how you want them to treat you. Don't let them bring you down to where they are coming from. And they just need somebody to show them differently so they can start healing from that.
Okay, Mel, as a man, let's say that when a man is kind of experiencing domestic violence or in a relationship that's very abusive, whether physically or mentally or whatever, right, all of those harsh words, should the man say, you know what, tell their partner, man, can we seek counseling? Should the men recommend that?
It's a great way to approach the situation. Counseling is not a bad thing, right? You go in there to seek knowledge, to ask questions, talk to someone who knows how to help you guys with things you're going through. They might not be 100% of where you wanted to be, but one way or the other, they are helpful. They're going to give you tips. They're going to tell you how to talk to each other, how to have conversations, save a conversation, and not just talking over each other. So I think it's a good thing to do. Just to add on the piece, Patient and Miss B just talked
Sure.
about your orientation. Orientation is key, right. These are some of the key reasons why we see these things just keep on happening amongst us as young adults. It depends on how we grow up, the whom we grow in, things we
Sure.
see people do, because there's this saying that say monkey see monkey do, and that thing becomes habitual, and you have to keep on living with that. It takes someone who will kind of correct you, say, talk about it. I think the way of dealing with this is not by saying, I will remain mute like Patience say. I will just sit here and say, because I want my family and I want to be around my kids. It's not the way forward, because it will continue to happen if you don't address it. The way to address the situation is to first identify it's a problem, acknowledge that there's a problem, and find means to talk about it. If you can't find solution, you seek the counsel you just mentioned. Talk to a counselor and see if the counselor can help you. And if you do that a few times and it's not helping, I think as a man, sometimes is your peace of mind is very important. You can be in a situation wherein you are working, you're thinking about when I go home, this is going to happen, and you can't function well. So you can lead your family the way you should as a man if you are being abused.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Again, folks, we are discussing domestic violence against men. Why do some men suffer in silence? I mean, domestic violence is a big deal, right? It's both against women and against men. But sometimes you don't hear it for the men. It's always about the women, always about the women. Patient, is there especially like in our community, right? It's like Mel mentioned something here where in some men can hardly go to their own house, man, because no one enter their house. There's fire. So at the end of the day, maybe when he go on the soccer field, he stays there all day. He's not gonna bother to come at home. But instead of him taking that route, is there like can they like try to build a support system where in like to try to help him resolve that or work through that? But instead of him just going to the soccer field, get drunk, and then by the time he come home, the only thing he come to do is sleep.
Yeah, I mean, once again, one thing I hear a lot in the, I won't say African, but in the Black community is a lot of Black men don't believe in therapy, which is sad. It's
That
really
part.
is. It's really is sad. Like there is nothing wrong with having. I believe therapy is better than getting your family involved because your
Okay.
family know you and
Mhm.
your wife family know her. But therapy, this is a complete stranger. You're
Okay.
going there, you're sitting and having a conversation, telling them how you feel, and she's sitting there listening to you. If she have listening ears, she's listening to you, expressing yourself, and hopefully she can learn from that. That's my number one suggestion. Like, let us leave families out of it because at the end of the day, that's your family. They got your back regardless of what happened. I think a lot of Black couple needs to start seeking therapy, especially domestic relationship. Like
Okay.
sit in therapy, talk to your partner. Even if it's not therapy, we need to get to the point where we can voice out our feelings to our person. Like turn the TV off, send the kids to bed, sit on the couch.
Okay.
Like this is what I don't like in this relationship. There's a lot of great qualities, but this is affecting my mental health. I come home, I sit in the driveway for 30 minutes, dreading to come in the house because of the way our relationship is.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. I want to be excited to get off work and come home to my family.
Sure.
Men needs to get to the space where they can voice themselves without feeling less of a man or without feeling like their ego is being bruised or something like that. That's just where it comes down to. Black men, I didn't know this until this year.
Okay.
Black men are struggling emotionally. They have all these trauma from childhood trauma, teenage trauma,
Okay.
young adulthood that they're not speaking on. They just bother it and let the ego take. So we need to come to this place, and us women too, we're responsible to create that safe space where they can be able to sit and talk to us. talking is very important and listening is very important in a relationship. That's the only way you get to know what he's going through. If you listen to him and if he speak on it, if not, if he don't tell you, say, oh, you talk to me a certain way, I didn't like the way it came out. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's your tone of voice, like the way in which you say it. Like, okay, it makes him feel less of a man. Yeah, men needs to just voice out those emotions because we don't know. We're not in your head. We can't read mind. So if you don't speak on it, we won't know.
Okay. So Miss B though, so if you again right to that same situation where if you notice your man or your partner going out, weekends instead of you guys spending time together, he's going to his boys to chill. If you notice something like that, is that a conversation you should bring us? Okay, why is it every weekend instead of us spending time as a family, you get up and go?
I don't know where I got it from, but for some way, somehow,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about myself. I thought to be a good partner and not to be considered a nagger was to let your man go out and do the boys' things and be with his boys and don't complain about that. But, I will come to find out that my husband genuinely wanted to spend more time with me. He wanted to be hanging out with me. I was all about the girls' trip. And, and I'm like, oh, you go do your boys' trip. Let me go do my girls' trip. And, eventually he was like, no, it's not. I don't want to be doing boys things and boys trip. I genuinely really want to be hanging out with you more. And, like Labrie can say right now, it's like we should say involved because we do everything together and it's been great. And so I think like Patience said, making time to have that conversation is very, very much important, right? And even if that is a problem to you, like I'm glad you're bringing this question, Abraham, because I think oftentimes we think the main problems in relationship that cause domestic violence is cheating.
Yeah.
Statistically, it is the lack of communication. Statistically, the number one problem is financials. So therefore, if we're having problems in the relationship because of financials, we're not having that communication. Communication is a problem. And it was just this year, I'm going to admit, 17 years of being together, it was just this year I realized one of my flaws. I listen to respond and I don't listen to understand. And it was during a staff meeting and we were talking about, developing teams. And I was like, wow, when I'm listening to my daughter, I'm listening for understanding. When I'm listening to my husband, I'm listening to just have that come back to shoot back at him. And wasn't listening for understanding, and I was just listening to respond. And I can admit that, in my grown age, in all the years of us being together, that has been a problem. And I'm happy that I've come to recognize that. So folks realize that, and these are the things that lead to some of these domestic problems that we are having. We suck. Adults are the worst communicators. Kids are better. They'll tell you that study shows kids are better communicators than we are. We suck at communication, and it's unfortunate. When we're younger, we were communicating just fine. We were authentic and we're honest, and we know we get mad at kids because they say the darndest things, but that's just them being honest and about their feelings, about the situation. They don't know how to way to sugarcoat it. We get older and we know how to hide it and mask it and sugarcoat it, and we get bad at communication. So yeah.
Mel, you were laughing when Miss B were,
I know, right?
Do you have any reaction to that before I pose my question to you? Because
I mean, I was laughing because it's important. Sometimes, as we talk about these things, there's something we need to kind of think about too. There are people that carry on these abuses against their partner or men, as the topic is, that don't even know, right? So they do it. And the feel is okay. So it's not some type of manipulation, some type of threat, right? Gaslighting. Some people don't know these things, they are doing it. But bringing it to their attention by sitting down and having these conversations like, yo, babe, this is what happened. On X amount of days, you've done this, and I think this is not how it should be. Let's do it this way. So sometimes the key answer to these things is talking about it, having conversation, and highlighting, what had happened, how it's affecting you as a partner, both men and women, and say
Mhm.
this is happening, and I think this is impacting me in a way that
Mhm.
it's not working with my value, or it's not helping me grow. So how
Okay.
can we fix it? That way you bring it to the person knowledge. So that's
Okay.
key. I was laughing because that's something that was on my mind as
Okay.
the conversation was going on. And she
Yeah.
mentioned it happened, but she was not aware it was happening. And she
Mm.
just realized it after 16 years. So key example in people doing things, their action affecting another person that they are not aware of.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
just in regards to that, there are some women, or some men, you point out to them, hey man, I don't like what you're doing, or don't talk to me that way, don't do that. You say, that's just who I am, that's how I talk. Patient, what's your reaction to that? A lot of you see some females do that.
I hate
That's who
that.
I am, that's how I talk.
I hate that.
Okay.
And I'll take it back. We as adults now, like for the people that's dating now,
Mhm.
find somebody who compliments you in the way you want to be complimented. Because we're dating people. I just realized that I am such a homebody. I've been dating these people that love to go out.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why our relationship did not work out. My current partner, we can lay on this couch for the 8 hours and do nothing. That's what I like to do. So we need to get to the space where we find people who likes to do the things that we like to do, and find people who likes to speak life into us, and we love to speak life into them as well, because we're dating. It's the opposite attracts. As an adult, I'm starting to find that hard to believe, because you're supposed to find someone who just enjoy being themselves with you. I don't want to tell you, say you hurt me and you're telling me, oh, that's who I am. Why am I with you? Is your intention to hurt me for the rest of my life? That's not what I want. If I'm telling you, say you hurt me, even if I did something that got you to that place, your first response as my partner is, I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention. Then we talk about what led us to where we are and having this conversation now. But if a person tell you, say, you tell them, say, oh, you disrespected me, and they tell you, say, that's who I am, that's not your person. Your person is not supposed to disrespect you. Your person is not supposed to get you out of character. Your person is supposed to help you become a better person, and you help them become a better person too. So as an adult, that's what we need to start doing. Finding people who speak life into us, because there's so much going on into this world. There's so much trauma and everything else is going on. You don't want to be with someone who's not adding value to your life or constantly abusing you in any form or shape. So, yeah.
So, but coming to that point though, is like, are you ever going to find, Ms. Bian, I will take this before I come to patient. Are you ever going to find a perfect partner? Isn't it always that you guys have to find a common ground, right? Is that for you guys to work out situation? It's not going to be 100% perfect, right? You might have different orientation, different way of doing things.
I feel like the number one thing is, are you happy with yourself? And you know how people talk about, first of all, let me address that opposite attract. It's a lie. It can say,
why is it a lie? Why is it a lie?
No, because society is this way. You have, if you're a Christian, you will say don't be unevenly yoked. If you're a neutralist or a naturalist, whichever way you want to say, you're going to say opposite attract. They're both saying the same thing, right? Honestly.
Yeah.
The Christian idea of opposite attract is they will tell you, say, oh no, don't agree with the opposite attract, because if you're unevenly yoked, that means you're with the opposite and you're attracting the opposite. But if you're evenly yoked, you're literally attracting somebody similar to you, right? And so that's why you're having two schools of thought happening in society, right? Based on religious and culture.
Yeah.
So that thing is a lie. You have to find somebody who you can get along with. So if you are dating the opposite, you're probably not getting along with that characteristic, that personality, period.
But
so
you might meet someone, right? You might meet someone who loves to go out, right? Is like hang out. And you, right, is that patient says she's the homebody, but she just like to stay home. Why can't you guys find that middle ground? Two are genuinely love each other. Why can't you guys find that middle ground?
If they are invested in having understanding that in being in a relationship with another person, period, it's about compromise.
Yeah, okay.
There are people who don't want to be in a relationship with just one person. And so that's, if you have that characteristics, it may look as if like you like to go out, but it's not necessarily going out. You're just going from sitting from one house to sit to another. Going out does not necessarily mean that there's no person that just enjoys being at the club and the bars 24/7. I would say that without a doubt.
Okay.
There's not that person. Okay. What is happening is, as long as you're not home with me, I just chuck it up to you being out. But the reality is you're finding company somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And that necessarily is not company in a club or company at a bar. That could be company at another person's home. It could be your guy's home or a female home. You're finding company somewhere else. So that whole opposite track thing is a myth. It's a lie. Okay.
Mel, so I'll come to you on this one. As a man, you know, like against the two ladies, okay, if you're going out, like, you know, there are some guys now in our community who like to go out every weekend. It's not that they are going out there to find any partner, but sometimes just going there to chill with their boys, right? But when they come home, you know, it's like, I mean, they get an earful instead of trying to say, okay, how can we maybe find a compromise? Not all the time I have to go, but maybe some days let's go.
Yeah, I think as a good partner, try to include your partner in your outing. If the person say, you know, I don't feel okay going out, well, you're with me. This is what I like doing. I want you to be included. Not every time I decide to go, you come with me, and that's that piece is important. You know, I mean, me, a woman here today who likes certain things that I didn't like before. But because I want to be with this person, I want to understand, you know, what she likes doing and just spending time with her doing what she loves doing. And equally so, I would prefer her, you know, going with me to things I love to do. I love playing soccer during summertime. So once in a while, I want my babe to come on the soccer field. So I will get my partner included in what I do. But if it becomes consistent, like, you know what, I can't come to this, then I will question that person I'm with too, because then there is something you trying to hide. I would think that, or maybe you just don't want to be involved in what I do. So including your partner in your activities, in things you love doing, your habit is important if you want to be with this person.
There are some, I mean, there are some folks like the patient type, right? No matter how you try to get them out of that, they're not going to come. First of all, I don't like your friends, the kind of friends you have. I just don't like them. I don't want to be battled with them. And then when you come home, you say, you know, they give you like an earful. Now they give you like an earful.
So what I would do with that, AB, we're trying to solve problem here. For me, I believe in solving problem. What I would do with something like that, understand why a patient doesn't like my friends, right? Who are these friends I'm hanging out with? How, you know, how are they impacting me? Maybe understand patient's standpoint. Maybe there is something, or there are things they are doing that are not helping us grow as a family. It could be we decide today we're going to Iowa. We just spend all of our money, and patient on the other hand believes in, you know, us budgeting before doing things. I will understand where she's coming from. If she just say, I don't like your friends because I just don't like them, that's not a good reason. Because I mean, I have friends before I met you. You know, and as your partner, you don't expect me to be in isolation because I'm your partner. I need that community. So I want to understand why. Then from there, I will make a decision on what to do. But not knowing, you know, why she doesn't like them, make it harder for me to just make a decision on finding a resolution.
Okay, thank you. Patient, it's like the issue of maybe sanction, I would say scheduling. Would that be considered any kind of a form of abuse? Or they mess up inside it. That's some women is hey man, so now 2-3 months, you know, they're in there. They say you're not getting nothing. If you don't treat me certain way, you're not getting nothing. It's not abuse, and you know, and the men just be suffering in silence.
That is abuse.
Wow, that is, first of all, I don't even believe in that schedule. We already had this conversation.
The two women agree that's abuse.
That's an abuse. I don't believe, because you're not supposed to deprive your partner.
You can still schedule, but that's abuse. If you're not scheduling, you're not giving it up. That's abuse.
Basically, that's you having control over when to please them. So that is a form of abuse, which is not okay. To the women that can do it, that's not okay. Your person has access to you when they need you, and the same go for you too. If you need a partner, you have access to them. That's the purpose of being in a relationship with each other, so everybody can be themselves. When yeah. So yeah, it is a form of abuse.
Miss B, men that are going through that kind of abuse, what will you, how will you advise them? How do they deal with it? How should they deal with it? Because there are a lot of men in our community that
suffering, right?
I feel like,
especially let me finish my thought. We live in Minnesota. It gets cold.
In the cold.
Yeah. So that abuse cannot be too much.
I will say you guys have influenced me.
Okay.
Things are not being scheduled around here. They're happening regularly with no schedule.
There we go.
But from my sisters there who still kind of have to work with the schedule, I see that is abuse. Okay. That is abuse. We're using it as a weapon.
Yep.
And that's just the reality.
Right. We're giving man his due.
Where without a doubt, 100%, women feel powerless, and that is what they're going to resort to, is using that as a weapon, and that is equally so abuse. Because what happens is you hear sometimes, and we're like, oh, how can a husband rape his wife? That is a result of that sometimes, right? Nobody should be forced to have interactions. However, that is a result of that, because you have utilized that as a weapon to hold it against him, to kind of control the situation, to get him to do what you want him to do, be it good or bad or whatever, what have you. And so I don't agree in at any time doing that. But back to, people just need to learn how to get out of bad relationships. It's okay if you guys don't have stuff in common. But culturally, back in the day, the only reason you were married was you felt like your husband was a provider. You didn't care how he made you feel. You didn't care if you even liked him. You didn't even care if you found him attractive. I think us women, we need to change the ties. I tell my friend, and I say all the time, we are not our mother's children. Okay. Meaning our mothers were staying married for all the wrong reasons. Right? That had nothing to do with their feelings, their emotions. What are they being? Their self-care. They were in relationship for the wrong reason. I think, and traditionally we continue to do that. I see that a lot in my community, where you're staying there because it's been you guys have been together forever, and he's the father of your children. But let's teach people to see the signs that it's not, that you and somebody are clearly not compatible. The person that likes to go out a lot, there's a woman that likes to go out a lot. Yep. The man that likes to gamble, there's a woman that likes to gamble. That's just the reality. Don't stay with that person because you think they're going to change for you, or you're going to change them. Let's make it okay for people to leave bad situations. And I think we don't have enough of those conversations, which leads us to so much abuse, not always just the physical abuse, but men are more emotionally abused in relationships than they are physically, because they are physically stronger sometimes. But it's not that abuse that they're dealing with. It is that emotional abuse that men are carrying most often than not.
I will stay with you for a minute though. It's like with the pressure with pressure right now, like everywhere, right, for folks to get married or stay married. Is it ever, it's like the issue of walking away? Is that even a possibility anymore, right? Is that because everybody, like today, marriage is a status symbol, isn't it?
And yeah, I'm such the opposite when it comes to that title. And I'm going to call it what it is. And I know some people are going to be to my left of me, is going to probably have the rebuttal already ready going. Yeah. Marriage is a contract. Marriage is a business. The government wants to know who they can hold responsible for certain financial fiduciary things. That's all it is. It's an industry that makes billions and billions of dollars every year. The church benefits from the ceremonies because the pastor's getting paid, the church is making money. It's all a contract. I respect people who are genuinely together, regardless if they have. I respect all relationships. I don't respect anything much more because they took the time to go to a church and got a certificate, a witness. Why do you think it's a contract? There's a place for a witness to sign. And you go and file it where? You go and file it at a government building. It is a legal contract. It's binding you and that person legally, and they want to be able to know who to hold fiduciary responsible. I respect people who have not done that. They've been together for a long time. They have kids. They have invested in a home. They have invested in a life together. And whatever they want to call it or name it or give it a title, I'm going to respect that.
Okay. Mel, the issue like I'll take it like again, like I'll go back to the immigrant, vantage point here a little bit, where in like, this girl or this lady go back home or wherever, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, and bring this guy and just decide, hey man, it's like this one is what I'm gonna make sure, right? It's like, yeah, it has been happening, right? There are a lot of examples of that. They just beat him up emotionally. And it's hard, right? The man doesn't report it because as an immigrant, he may be afraid of deportation or losing his status.
So yeah, it's so sad that those things are happening. I'm sorry for brothers that go through that, and also sisters. But the topic here is kind of men that have been abused. But it's sad. AB, a lot of our sisters here see that they can't really get what they want to do with a man here, because guys that are here understand the system. Most of them. Don't get me wrong. There are some women that do it genuinely because they love the person, and there are some that just do it just on the basis of controlling the person, and that's some form of abuse. That is manipulation and threat. If you bring a person to be like, I just bring in this person to help me, with my bills and do all these things, and not just the relationship piece, all the benefits that come with relationship, right? Those pieces are being avoided, and you are just focused on this person helping you, and then you threatening this person to be like, if this happened, I will send you back. You will not even get your people. It's sad. That's a form of abuse, and emotionally, a lot of guys go through that in America. I'm sorry for brothers that go through that, and there are reasons for those things. Try to just remain mute and not say anything about it, because if you think about it a little bit, it'd be looking at how Liberia is structured. A lot of young men out there finish school, got their bachelor's and master degrees. There's no job available. So someone who a lady going out there and saying, you know what, I think you and myself can make a life together. They want to come to America. They might not even love this young woman. They might not even be in love with her. They might not even have that for her. But the fact that this person is from America and this is a place of opportunity, they come here and suffer these abuses. A lot of them go through. So it's sad. I would say that. If you're a lady out there kind of doing those things, you're not doing it to the men. You are affecting yourself. If that person gets on their feet and understand how the system works, I tell you no lie, they're going to walk away, because no man want to be in a position or in a situation wherein they are not happy in the home. They feel the woman want to control the narrative, want to make sure everything is controlled by them. A guy or high value men will not want to remain in those kind of situations.
Yeah. They got low value men.
Oh, they got a lot of low value men. I would tell you that. They got low value men.
You know what? Expand on that a little bit. What's the difference between a high value men and low value men? Expand on that.
When I say high value men that know what they want, that will not take, certain things from a woman, things that are not ideal to them, that they have their goal, they have their vision, they know where they are headed. Right? There are some men that don't know these things. There are some men that don't know where they are going. And people that got these things put in place that are visionary, they want a woman, they want a partner, both men and women, they want a partner who will support that vision, who they can work with for them to grow together. Anything contrary to that, a guy that will accept it, you maybe fall in that bucket of low value men. But high value men know what they want. They basically focus on growth, focus on family, focus on the dynamic of just this relationship. How can we get better? What can we do to grow? What can we do as a family, as a unit, to make our lives better, right? And I gotta have that. You don't have to be an educated man, right? You don't have to have master's or bachelor's degree to be a high value man. Somebody with master's or bachelor's degree can be a low value man when it comes to relationship. So valuing the relationship, knowing where you're going, knowing what you want in a relationship, and see where that's going. Those are is the definition of a high value man.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, folks, tonight we are discussing domestic violence against men. We have been here now for an hour. So we'll try to push it for the next 15 minutes. Interesting conversation. The panelists are really flowing. They are doing great, providing a lot of interesting information. If you want to contribute, you can comment or you can call our number 817-600-1525. And again, we are discussing domestic violence against men. Why do some men suffer in silence? A lot of men suffer in silence, especially when they bring them from Africa. Man, yesterday in our house, they just go for him 24/7. He just be down, he just be down there. He get when he call his body, he say, when you bring your friend here, you know what will happen to you. And he keeps so anyway, patience. Men that are going through that, isn't it? Some women that leave from here, go Africa, wherever, right? To go. Is it like, especially when it comes to the African dynamic, right? It's like it's the men that are the provider. Right now here, it's like in America, it's 50, everyone ending the US dollar, right? So there's that equilibrium, right? It's like so the woman here, she said, you know what? Well, in Africa, the men they used to treat me bad, so I just gonna bring one of them here and show you why it is to earn money. What's your thought on that?
Like Mel said, a high value man.
Mhm.
Regardless if he have money or no money, he know his worth, he know his value, he stand 10 toes down.
Okay.
You're not gonna disrespect him, you're not gonna belittle him. He might take it till he get his paper, and that's when most of the problems start these days.
Mhm.
These women go back home, get these men, bring them here, abuse them, take
Mhm.
advantage of them, not just physically but emotionally,
Yeah.
disrespect them in every aspect, belittle that manhood. The moment he get his green card, he's gone. I mean, your character speaks louder than words, because when he was at his lowest, yes, he appreciated the fact that you brought him here. But am I going to sacrifice my happiness because, and I give props to men who actually walk away from situations like that,
Okay.
because she took you from the dirt. Yeah. But, and so what? You were sitting there, you didn't ask her to come and get you. She
Mhm.
didn't bring you here to come and abuse you, and you're not supposed to. Nobody should tolerate abuse. I don't care, men or women.
Okay.
When your mom born you, you was that precious little baby. Everybody wanted to hold you and love on you. You're still that precious little baby at the age of 40. You know your worth, know your value. Keep your head up, and stand 10 toes down as a man. And that's one thing I look for in the man. I don't care if you have money. I don't care if you're making $20,000 a year. When you walk in this house, you speak to me like a man. Tell me to sit down. Let me sit down. That's how it's supposed to be. That is a real man, but not the little one who be crying for every little thing and
Mhm.
not making no move on top of that. Women, and that's true. I have seen it. I have witnessed it. Women go back home and bring these men here and treat them like they're nothing just because he brought somebody here. That's not the end of the world. Somebody brought you here too. Everybody has a destiny helper. So if it's
Okay.
not working for him, he leaves.
Okay. Miss B, though, in that situation, should men that are back there, right? Is that if you feel like, as you said, like the opposite shouldn't try, according to your theory, you feel like, okay, the woman come there, but man, maybe like she's not your type. Should you just say, you know what, I'm not going to, thanks, but no thanks?
We talk about sending for people. I mean, it happens here, whether
Mm-hmm.
you send for them or they're
Right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
There are women who, because they want to control the situation, are okay with the man being at home and not working.
Mhm.
I know a guy who is in my family. That
Mm-hmm.
was the situation. Like, the girlfriend didn't want him to have the opportunity to go out there and meet other women and cheat on
Mm-hmm.
her. She was okay with him being at home, being the
Yeah,
taking
home
care
dad.
of, being the parent that was taking care of the home, taking care of the
Mm-hmm.
kids, and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. And he
Mm-hmm.
had great potential. And
Mm-hmm.
fast forward, he would finally leave her, and end up building a successful business,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And making a lot of money because she didn't see the potential in him to kind of help him to further himself. And when he left her, it was the best thing ever. Until this day, he's like, they have kids together. He's like, I can never go back to her because she was not the one that sought better for me. She was okay with me being down there, a low value man. Like, I so much to say for,
Mm-hmm.
but she was not, because she wanted me in a situation where she controlled me, and he resented her from that. So ladies, if
Mm-hmm.
you think you are doing this man justice just by allowing him to be taken care of by you, no, he's going to eventually, he's going to wake up, leave the situation, and resent you for it. Like, if you see somebody wanting to be something and do more and beyond where they're currently at, support it and nourish it. If it's for you, it will be for you. If it's not, it was not meant to be. But don't be afraid to be invested in your man leveling up, right? And becoming the best that he can be. Because in the end, it will pay off for both of you if he's a genuine person. That's just my thought process. Whether you bring him here or you find him here, and you help him to get on his feet.
Mel, why do you think some men will to patience and misbe point? I think even Randy is saying similar thing like that, right? But the whole some women will just treat you as a commodity, right? It's like, but some men will be okay with that, right? It's like, okay, just stay home. I'm doing my double. Anything you want, I'll give you your allowance. But they're going through that mental, emotional abuse, but then they're still there. They just still there. They don't do anything about it.
Yeah, so that relates. It kind of speaks to individual differences. So like we speak of high value men, they will not just allow things that are not working.
We have value man, but he just want to not leave. He don't want to leave that situation because sometimes he feels.
You know how value men will sit down there. Abby, I'll tell you something. Then you are now a high value person. If you have value, you know your vision, you know where you're going, So if it's not working for you and you keep on experiencing those things, and you're not getting out of it, then maybe you fall in that bucket of low value. So a human being, your partner should not be seen as a commodity. First of all, that's an insult, right? Your partner should be valued, should be someone you cherish, should be your number one cheerleader, should be someone you love. Why should someone you love be considered or seen as a commodity or someone you can abuse? Then right there are a lot of things that are going on in your head that are not going to help that person. So both men and women, you can see your partner as a commodity or someone you can abuse or use for your benefit. Then you don't love that person. Then that's not relationship you kind of put up there to see that will last forever. That shouldn't happen in the first place. If you decide to be with someone, being with a person, spending the rest of your life with this person, there are a lot of things that you consider. Like, we're growing, we're building this together, we have a vision, we have a dream, we want to do these things together. So there should be somebody first you respect, first you want to help grow. If they have vision, you want to support their vision. In turn, they can support their vision, and that can be beneficial to both for you. So I can see my partner as someone that I can use as commodity. So that right there is a huge form of abuse.
Okay. Well, thank you again, guys. We are discussing domestic violence against men. If you are listening to us tonight, why do some men suffer in silence? It's been a great conversation. We cannot continue all night. So for the last 7 minutes, I kind of have two basic questions for my panelists here, right? It's like, number one, what steps can the immigrants, right? Like, we in the immigrant community, what steps can we take to break the silence against domestic violence against men? What steps can each of us take? Now we'll start with you.
Oh, me. Okay. So thank you, everybody. There are things we can do here.
I got two questions for you. One is like the question to all of you here: what steps we in the immigrant community can take, right, to break this silence as it relates to domestic violence in our community against men?
So against men. So from the introduction of my conversation here, there are two things I mentioned that make men to just remain silent, and if we can avoid that, so the stigma of just being seen as a weak person or someone that just trying to complain and just having people disbelieve in you, let go of all of that notion, right? Whatever you are going through as a man, though, that the domestic abuse that you are going through from your counterpart, your partner, right? Make sure you highlight those things. First, start with the conversation with that partner. Have a very serious conversation that this is impacting me. Your actions are affecting me in a way, and name those things. Give examples of how they are affecting you. Make sure the person is aware. And there is no solution and nothing is happening and the person is not changing. Escalate it to the next level. Whether counseling, whether your pastor, your spiritual leader, whichever person you respect that you think that both of you can listen to, bring that to the person your attention. This is going on.
And now that we are focusing on the individual, before I go to Patience and Miss B, but what role can a community play, right? Sometimes we leave the community out of this. What role can a community play towards
So
the
first
people?
of all, the community needs to know your
Mhm.
friends, you know, people you interact with. They will be in the loop of it. Then they can play a role. So here we're
Mhm.
speaking of it being something that is not out there, being silent. So if the
Mhm.
community is aware, right, you put out some resources. How can what are some of the resources we know out there? People you can go to that can help you, you know, resolve those things, give you ideas, have conversation, and make sure they help you or help your relationship so it can kind of, you know, forego that abusive piece of it so you guys can focus on growth, because that's what relationship is, man. If you come across somebody, the goal is for you guys to grow together. If those things are not happening and is denigrating you, then it's not, it doesn't worth your time or your effort, you know. And find another avenue. You know, there are a lot of good people out there.
Okay, patience. Sometimes like we look the other way, right? We see these abuses going on in our community, but we just look the other way, right? It's like, especially in our black culture, you don't want to be a snitch, you don't want to get involved in anybody's business, even though we gossip all day, every day on Facebook. But these are things that we don't really talk about. Why is that? And how can we change
Well,
as a community?
Africans are set in their ways. It's so sad. Like we have this tunnel vision,
Mhm.
and that's where most of our problem. Like they have this, like our great grandfather mindset when it comes to relationship of, especially with men.
Mhm.
Like you're the man, you're supposed to be this. No, I believe if you telling somebody that I'm being abused at home, any form of abuse, and they're not believing the situation, find another avenue. Like leave, if you have to leave your community to go out there and voice yourself out and be heard and
Mhm.
feel safe, you do that.
Okay.
I think we need to get to the point where we need to take it out of our community we have built. Like go to therapy. Don't seek a black therapist if you're a black person. Go hear it from a different perspective, from a different culture.
Okay.
Just put yourself out there so you can get the help, because there are a lot of resources and a lot of help out there. But due to the fact that we're so stuck within our community, we're not seeing, and there is nothing wrong with that, but we're
Okay.
not seeing that. As an African, we have this mindset. Even women, it goes from, if you go and tell this person, say, oh, your man is abusing you, I want to be, oh, what is it you're doing wrong? Why
Yeah.
I gotta be doing something wrong for me to be getting abused? And the
Okay.
same go for me, oh, you're a man, my man moved from here, man. How that small woman, you see her, how she gonna no. People
Sure.
go through these things, but we downplay it all the time. So
Okay.
step out of that, because that comes with like the toxicness too. Because you're
Okay.
getting this at home and nobody is believing you outside of your home. Step out of your community, step out of your comfort zone. Google, do your
Okay.
research,
Okay.
seek therapy for yourself before you
Sure.
get your partner involved as well too.
Okay. Ms. B, you are in a nonprofit world, right? What role can our community organizations play, right, to bring this issue to fore, right? It's like to make it, it's happening out there, a lot of it, but we hear it, but it's not, we see on social media, but we don't discuss it in our various organizations or anywhere. We just let it be.
I will name two organizations that's focused
Mhm.
on men. There's
Mhm.
Mad Dads
Mhm.
in Minneapolis, and then there's Global Fatherhood Foundation.
Okay.
They focus on men having domestic abuse, having access to your kids. You're paying
Mhm.
child support, but you're not having access to your kids. They will support you in that. They have International Men's Day just happened last month. They had a big event at the Brooklyn Park Community Activity Center. A whole bunch of different organizations supported that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of annual men conference, black men
Sure.
conferences. So
Sure.
look for these different types of events and outlets, nonprofit organization, community organizations where you can get help. You
Mhm.
go to your doctor's visits. I took Seisha recently. She's 15, and I'm at the point now the doctor asked me to leave the room. This is where she has that doctor client privilege.
Mhm.
Men, you go to your doctor's visits, talk about it to your doctor. Your doctor is not there to laugh at you. They can be your first step to getting that help that you need, and they're supposed to provide you. I think one of the questions now they ask you all the time, do you feel safe at home? Use that opportunity, right? Your doctor is not going to tell you you're being less than of a man. They're not going to make fun of you. They're genuinely going to give you that support and that outlet. There's a group for everything. There's alcohol, just how they have Alcohol Anonymous. There's a group, if you Google, there's a group out there for men being abused at home.
Okay.
I trust and believe there is such a group, and you can go there and be in company with folks that are dealing with the same thing. And then you guys can all figure out how to work through this together.
Okay. Now, okay, as we close this, right, my last question for you guys. What advice, right, will you have to the man, the dude that is trapped, in this kind of relationship? There's there, they are suffering in silence. It might be an immigrant, it might be any man that's out there listening to this conversation tonight or might watch us later. What advice will you have for them? Patient, will start with you, and then from there, Mel, and then Miss B can close out.
I'll say, first of all, I want to apologize. You guys deserve better and seek better. Like, set yourself down. Even if you're driving, ask yourself, where have this relationship taken me? Like, we've been together for X amount of years. What is the positivity? What has she invested? I mean, if the good outweighs the bad, then you'll go to counseling. But if you are being belittled in your home, that's your space, that's your safe space. If you're not safe at home, especially Black men, it's sad, it's so sad, and I feel so bad for them. Black men don't get love out in the world. Like, your home is where you get the most love as a Black man, because once you step out there, your life is threatened until you get back home. So if you don't get that peace at home, my brother, leave. If you talk about it and she's not respecting you, she's not listening, she's not hearing, she's not comprehending it, leave. There's somebody out there that's going to love on you just how you deserve and imagine to be loved on. Because you guys go through so much hate, and I hate to see that you guys are not being happy at home. I hate to see you come home and sit in that driveway dreading to come inside to your own family. So leave. That's all I can say to anybody that's unhappy. Just leave. Find happiness. That's all we can do.
Now, what advice will you have for the brothers out there, for the men out there, immigrant men, who say, you know what, it's like they are trapped, but they are afraid of the backlash when they leave or when they take action? What advice do you have for them tonight?
I would say domestic violence is serious, and it can cost your life, right? It can cause you sicknesses. You see these heart attack and young men dying from heart attack. They derive from those. Those are domestic violence is a contributing factor. You are in a home, you are not happy. You go out there, you feel very comfortable to talk, but you come home, you just shut down. You can't do anything because of what is going on. So I think it has to do with your health, my brother. If you are experiencing these things, seek help, ask questions, talk to people that will help you, so then you can gain your mental state. Because if you are not okay up here, there's nothing you can do that will be okay. You can go to work and not be functional. Your conversation with your friends will start getting bad. You can't affiliate, you can't socialize, because you have domestic issues that are impacting all of your activities. So regardless of how many kids you have, in as much as they are important, your health is also important. If you are not able to function well, you wouldn't be able to take care of your kids the way you're supposed to, and you will act out of emotions and be impacted or be sent to jail. And those kids that for which you don't want to do something about will end up being affected even negatively than it should be. So seek help, ask questions. Miss B here kind of mentioned some resources here that you can kind of reach out to seek help. Look for those things. Look for people that can help you. Have conversation. Everything that are affecting us is all about talking about it with someone. There's some type of relief that comes with communicating, talking about things that are impacting you negatively. So do that, my brothers that are listening to me, that are experiencing stuff like this. I will leave with you guys with that tonight.
Okay. Ms. B, as we close it tonight, what message do you want to leave with, the guys immigrant guys, black men, whoever that is trapped, don't know their way out, don't know how to get out of it. What message do you want to leave with them tonight?
Ditto to a lot of what Mel and Patience has said. Leave, get help. I'm a strong believer in that you can't help anybody else if you don't help yourself. If you are not happy, you can't make anybody else happy. Our happiness starts with us, right? And you have to make sure that you are good, that you are happy first, and then you can be able to add. You're supposed to add to your partner's happiness. You cannot be the only reason for their happiness. And as we talk about this, it's generational. And so the very kids that you don't want to leave, you have to think about what are they witnessing? And in return, they're going to do this too in their partner, with their partners. And then for generations and generations, we continue to see this, right? So leave, let it end here with you in this generation. Leave the situation, seek help, focus on self. That's what I just tell everybody, man or women, focus on your self-care. There's nothing wrong with making time for prioritizing yourself, even when you're if you're married or in a relationship, because you're no good to your partner if you're not well. And wellness means physically and mentally. That's wealth is in your health. And that's what wellness means, that you're physically okay, that you're mentally okay, and therefore you can bring forth your best self to that relationship. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody.
And with that, guys, that's the end of our show tonight. It's been a great show. Thanks for listening to us. Great conversation. The panelists ready flow tonight. We discussed domestic violence against men and why do some men suffer in silence. The conversation was very great. If you learned anything tonight, hey man, if you are the one going through that, don't sit in that silence, right? As Brandon said, take action, do something about it. Seek help, whatever it is that you need to do, please do it. Again, though, our lineup has changed a little bit. We're going to be here at you on Tuesday now to Thursday, Tuesday to Thursday. The business hour is now instead of Friday on Wednesday. So panelists, if you want to join the business hour as well, everything now is 7:30, right? The 3 days is 7:30. So it's been a great night. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30. Good night.